All right, here we go.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, free cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another parental episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 489, recorded Sunday, August 11th, 2024. Tonight we are talking about Alien Resurrection from 1997. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, man?
You know what? I'm the biggest star here, man. That's the way it is.
How's it going, buddy? Good to hear from you. Good to see you. Good to do all the things that we do on a podcast, audio format, so not as much seeing for others.
Yes,
Good
I
to
can't
talk.
wait to talk about the size of the alien dongs in this movie. It's crazy.
Oh man, it's the phalluses. They're coming to play today. They're really coming out.
We're hunting for dick.
Thanks, Geiger. Next up, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy, beautiful, beautiful butterfly stains. Come, my lady. Come, my lady. What up? I'm actually not in Seoul. I'm on
I
vacation.
want those 5 seconds back.
I'm on
Yeah.
vacation this week, so I'm calling in from
okay.
an unknown location.
Looks like you might be on the
Off-
Betty. I
Off
don't
the
know.
grid.
You gotta pay to know where you're at.
Yep.
That OnlyFans isn't going to pay for itself. People, get on there.
Last but not least, joining us for the very first time, everybody welcome writer, director, actor, overall nice guy, Michael Felker. What's up, man?
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I just wanted to say also, like, the intro song always is like super fun to listen to. So the fact that I could hear it actually in play is like super sick. So
Awesome.
happy to be on board, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, dude. We've been trying to get you on for a minute. We had the pleasure of watching your most recent film at the Overlook Film Festival. Things will be different, and we also got to talk to you and hang out with you a little bit, and also win some horror trivia, which was rad.
Yeah, that was sick. It was just kind of rolling up and being like, I have no idea what's happening here. And you guys were just killing it. You guys were just really fun to hang out with. And how did that end up going? Did you guys came in like placed or something like that?
Yeah,
I
we
don't remember the
won.
specifics now. We won a DVD.
Yeah,
That's right,
we
that's
won a
right.
movie.
Yeah.
A
Overall,
drop
pretty
in the
successful.
bucket, really, as you can tell.
Yeah. It's really just another brick in the wall, as they say.
You should just get it
Yeah.
like put into like a gold plating and then put it on a wall. Just being like, I'll never watch this, but I did win it, and it's pretty dang
Well,
cool. So.
Rob's
Yeah.
got plenty of blues he hasn't watched, so
Oh, okay.
that's,
Rob-
that's a
Rob
long-standing
scoffed.
tradition already.
A single blue.
This isn't worth getting out of bed for.
I was expecting 30 at least.
A truckload.
The hell kind of stack is this?
Michael, do you want to let all the folks listening know about Things Will Be Different? It did get picked up for distribution. Maybe you want to mention the details?
Yeah, absolutely. So had the wonderful chance to meet these guys at Overlook and also hang out more at BFan, and we found out right before we found out right before I got to BFan that we got picked up by Magnolian Magnet for a sick October horror release. So
Nice.
Things Will Be Different is like exactly. I know. It's a sci-fi thriller horror about brother and sister who rob a joint and go hide away in a farmhouse that's also a time traveling safe house. And the less I say, the better, because it's a mind scrambler of a movie that I can't wait for you guys to watch in October.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, man! Congrats on that.
Yeah,
We're
congratulations.
Psyched to hear you got picked up.
Yeah. It's been a really fun festival circuit. It's been really fun to meet with other people who watch the movie and go like, "What happened in that crazy thing?" And I go like, "Yes, I'm glad you watched it and enjoyed it in that way."
You
and
got it.
yeah, exactly. You got everything, even if your face says nothing got through. Yeah, but it's a really fun time, and we're all happy here on our side. And yeah, theaters and on demand October 4th, I believe. So more to come. More a trailer poster coming shortly the next month or so.
Awesome,
Hell yeah,
man. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool.
Let's tackle just a little bit of housekeeping on our end before we get to the main events. Here's another reminder: we do have our September poll currently posted over on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this September. The theme is movie magic, and we got 3 movies that literally and metaphorically play around with some movie magic, and they are The Final Girls, Popcorn, and Matinee.
Whoa, Bob, how those numbers looking?
Pretty good still, actually. There's a bit of a toss-up. The Final Girls is still in first place, though, with 42% of the vote. Then we got Popcorn in second place with 38%, and Matinee with 21%.
Tight race.
It is, yeah.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
All right, heading into spooky season. That'll be the last poll before our Halloween poll, right?
October, yeah. Our triple
whoa.
feature poll.
Jesus
Man, that's
Christ.
crazy.
We all know what we're picking, I'm sure.
Time sucks.
Dude, I've
Could you
known since
stop
like
for a
last
few
year.
minutes?
It's true. That's true, though. Yeah.
Halloween
actually.
ended and I was like, all right, I got
I
my
know.
picks in.
Yeah.
For next year.
Well, get your votes in for the end of the month. We'll see what we're talking about this September. And we are still dropping mini casts every other Friday. Just dropped one on Sting. Next up, coming this Friday, we're dropping one on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire over on our Patreon website. That's yours truly talking about that. So tune in this Friday for all of my thoughts.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
All of his
Oh, man.
thoughts. That's a huge stable of thoughts.
Oh boy. It's like a 2-hour long mini cast of Bob just bitching about the film industry.
What is this?
That's Bob's thesis.
I mean, that is pretty frequently the case on this show in general. But
Nonsense.
But the
in other
blue is still
Patreon-
ordered. That's let that be known. The blue's
I mean,
on
if I-
its way.
If I win it, that's one thing. But no, I didn't. I didn't buy it. In other Patreon news, we do have a brand new Patreon
Whoa.
supporter. We got to give shouts outs to a
Hell yeah.
big old thank you to Christina for signing up and showing us some love. And as is tradition around these here parts, we owe you the straight chilling salute. This one goes out.
you're too slow, Bob.
I know.
Jeez.
Our timing was off. Thank you, Christina, for
Thank
slapping
you.
our asses.
Thank you, Christina.
God bless.
I got tripped up just thinking about having Michael on. I was like, this is so ridiculous. This is...
No, I'm just picturing now Christina being a wonderful Patreon supporter at this point, just being like, how does she feel at this moment?
Yeah,
It's
what other
Hollywood.
visual could be
Oh.
associated with this, Bob? I don't know what you're thinking about.
I know, just our asses getting slapped.
I'm glad one of my
So
asses can be a part of this
so
slapping.
right.
process.
Yeah. We are very
Um,
happy to have you on for the salute. Bob, go ahead.
Last thing I have is we're going to be doing a Joe Bob watch party this Friday, the 16th at 9 Eastern. If you guys would like to join, I'll put a link out just before showtime on all of our socials. Click on that and you'll join in the Zoom link and as well as the fun.
You got
That's
any
all I got.
special themes this week?
Yeah, there typically is one, but I don't, it's a guessing game until it actually starts playing as the,
Bob,
An
come on.
extreme
it is.
guessing game.
yeah, you never
Very
know.
oblique. You have to tailor through a Joe Bob lens.
Yeah, it could be anything, really.
Yeah.
You guys have any plugs?
None to speak of. None that I can mention in public.
This week.
I think so too.
Cool.
His house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We are talking Alien Resurrection, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, do you have this box? Is it part of some box set, I assume?
Yeah, you're exactly right. The Alien anthology.
Oh, yeah.
It's got the first 4 movies in it, and
Pretty good looking box, Bob. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's great. It's I think I bought it like years ago, but it went on sale for like $20, and there's like the amount of bonus features on this thing is insane. Like you'll never have the time to watch them all. Definitely worth picking up if you can get your hands on it. Check it out.
I'd buy that for $1.
Wow, that's a steal. I mean, that's like $5 per movie. So I mean, we're bringing your average down. That's great.
I mean, that's what I live to do, is to drive that number down nice and low. Alien Resurrection from 1997. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. And this was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. This was based on characters by Dan O'Bannon. This screenplay for this particular movie was written by Joss Whedon, and it stars Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder, Ron Perlman, Gary Dourdan, J.E. Freeman, Brad Dourif, Leland Orser, and a whole host of other lovely folks. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. 2 centuries after her death, a powerful human-alien hybrid clone of Ellen Ripley aids a crew of space pirates in stopping the aliens from reaching Earth. Gentlemen, have you guys seen this movie before, and would you recommend folks check it out? Michael, why don't you kick us off, man?
Yeah, so I watched this movie for the first time deep pandemic. I was just going through like, hey, I have time. I need to watch franchises that I have holes in. And this one had, I believe it was just Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection that I hadn't seen before. So I was just knocking them out in a row. And watching it then, I was just completely flabbergasted by the movie. And but now rewatching it, I have tons of new thoughts. And so yeah, I had seen it before.
Fantastic. Would you recommend folks check it out?
Yeah. I mean, for a whole litany of reasons, probably that we'll get deeper into the podcast for. But yeah, definitely.
The inflection on your is like perfectly encapsulates. Like
it is a roller coaster of a yeah. I went up and I went down, and then I went into deep bowels of the ship that I will never go into.
Perfect. Randy, what about you?
First time watch for me also, well, not also, first time watch for me. I also had a lot of like holes in this franchise in general. I think that Alien was the only one I had seen. Alien and Alien versus Predator were the only 2 I had seen for like a solid decade of my life. And I've been slowly piecing it together out of sequence, which is very not recommended. Yeah, I would say I don't especially recommend this, but I don't think that it's the worst use of your time. So it's a very tepid recommend, but I'd say, yeah, if you need to fill the hole, this movie's got you covered. Justin, I see the wheel spinning, trying to make that
I'm
make
just
that
gonna let
wisecrack
him
happen.
let it slide.
Yeah,
Gotta
All
do
right.
it. Gotta do it. Juice, what about you?
First time watch for me. I think this wraps up the entire franchise and all kind of like connections and verses and all things. I think this is the last piece of the puzzle. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, kind of like a loose recommend. It's got some 90s action vibes to it. I think it's like one of the closest ones that comes closest to maybe capturing some of the vibes of Aliens, like that kind of blend of action, kind of comedy, 90s vibes. So yeah, loose recommend. Bob, how about you? Had you seen this before? Would you recommend?
This was a first time watch for me, and I've seen all the other movies except for Alien vs Predator 2, the second one. But I feel like that's not super important. I would
That's the
recommend
cornerstone,
this.
Bob.
Bob, everything hinges on that.
Right.
one.
You
Come on,
start
man.
with that one and you branch out from there.
Yeah.
You
Right,
work
yeah.
backwards, right? You gotta. I would recommend this, but it's weird and wonky, and you know I think for it being like the 4th installment in a franchise, they did a pretty good job. It started rough, but by the end I came around anyway. So yeah, I would just generally say, yeah, check it out. But that sounds like a very overall lukewarm recommendation from the crew here. But we are gonna be spoiling Alien Resurrection, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, did you type up a plot synopsis for this?
I did.
All right, let's hear it. What happened?
right.
What happened in this movie?
A lot of crazy shit.
Explain it to me.
What happened?
Why is it doing this?
I'll see if I can explain. See, like I mentioned, it takes place 200 years after Alien 3. The year is 2379. Some military scientists create a clone of Ripley from a sample of her blood. She's designated Ripley 8 because the previous 7 attempts have failed. Her blood was infused with xenomorph queen DNA, so the clone has some alien characteristics such as enhanced strength, speed, as well as acid blood and some sort of telepathic link to the aliens. The clone also develops with a chestburster inside, and the scientists cut it out and harvest its eggs. Ripley heals and learns extremely fast, and then a group of mercenaries arrive on their ship called the Betty. They sell several humans in stasis pods to General Perez, and he uses them as hosts for aliens, raising several adult xenomorphs. Call, one of the mercenaries, recognizes Ripley's name and figures out she might be used to create some xenomorphs. She thus tries to kill Ripley, but Ripley explains the damage has already been done. There's no stopping it now. An adult xenomorph is then killed by its siblings, so its acid blood would melt through the floor and let the others escape. They quickly kill the majority of the military crew. The ship's emergency protocol is to return to Earth. Ripley and the remaining crew band together and try to stop this from happening. The plan is they want to board the Betty and fly away and destroy the military ship from a safe distance. Along the way, Ripley finds a lab with the other failed clones in it, and which is really fucked up. And then she burns the whole place to the ground. The group makes their way through the ship, and they have to swim through a flooded kitchen while xenomorphs chase them. Dr. Wren betrays the group, putting them in danger. Shortly after, Call is revealed to be an android. She interfaces with the ship and sets a collision course with Earth, hoping to destroy the xenomorphs in the crash. As the crew boards the Betty, Wren is already there, and he takes Call hostage. He says to cancel the collision course, but your boy Purvis grabs Wren's head and holds it to his chest, and an alien bursts through his chest and Wren's head and kills them both. Ripley's captured by an alien and taken to the nest. The alien queen has developed a uterus thanks to her DNA being intertwined with Ripley's, and the queen then gives birth to a xenomorph with some very human-like traits. Unable to bond with the queen, the new xenomorph kills the queen and then recognizes Ripley as its mom. The new hybrid makes its way to the ship, and Ripley throws some of her acid blood onto a small window, creating a hole in the ship. The decompression sucks the hybrid alien through the hole out into space. As a sad Ripley watches, Ripley and the other survivors then escape on the Betty and watch the military ship crash into the Earth, killing the xenomorphs. And as they watch the explosion from a safe distance, Call asks Ripley what she wants to do next. She replies, "I don't know. I'm a stranger here myself."
I myself am strange and unusual.
Yeah, that hybrid kind of does look like butter. After you played that bump, I was like, yeah,
It
that
looks like butter. It
Kinda
looks like
does.
melting, waxy ass butter.
look kinda like
butter
butter.
substitute.
I can't believe it's not a xenomorph.
I can't believe it is acid blood. Yes.
Michael, how do you dig this movie, man? Let's get into it.
Yeah, man. So I guess so. I'm the only one who has given this a rewatch. So watching it now, having known where this movie goes, which I think at the time when I first watched this, I just called this basically like a crossover Firefly episode.
Oh yeah.
For the Alien franchise. But watching it now, I just, there's a lot more things I like really appreciate. Especially in the practical like monster effects and the strange turns it goes in on. Even though I would say if you like take the Alien versus Predator movies out of the factor, it's probably my least favorite of the main Alien franchise. Just because it's, it feels like, writer and director are making different things, and that's kind of where the movie splits for me. But that's just my 2 cents on the overall. I have a big list of notes on my rewatch that
You've already done more work than us,
fantastic.
so
Yeah.
congrats on that.
Now, halfway through this movie, I recognize the guy who's in the wheelchair. because he's got a very particular look. And I was like, where do I know him from? And it was from The City of Lost Children, which is a really weird
wow.
movie, but also made by the same director who I really appreciate. So Jean-Pierre Jeunet is, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he makes like really weird, dark movies. And I was excited to learn halfway through that he had directed this. And I was like, okay, some choices make a lot more sense. And with that knowledge going through the rest of this film, I appreciated it more from that aspect. And it was really cool to know like all the different directors that have now been, up until this point
It's
involved, and like how they all have their own kind of special stamp on it. And so yeah, knowing that he directed this movie and having like being familiar with some of his other films and how he kind of stylizes things made me appreciate this movie a lot more, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Randy?
It like also has some strange like I don't know. I haven't seen the entirety of City of Lost Children, or necessarily a ton of his work or whatever, but it has that sort of like fantastical, sort of like a little bit edging on dream logic thing happening. And God knows there's some lapses in logic in this thing. So I think that I don't know if that excuses it, but it definitely made me more ingratiated to it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like with the Alien franchise, it all sort of like, because I came at it from so many different angles, so many different like entry points, and I don't have a good memory of any of them except for like the first two. It just kind of all blends in this really weird cocktail for me. So watching this, I kind of like the only real like reaction I had in comparison to the other movies was that, well, it's not the first two. It's definitely not one of those, but it feels about as much as enjoyable as some of the more action-oriented later entries, in terms of just the action and like that sort of thing, and just as stupid in its story and the way that it's like justifying a lot of the set pieces it wants to get across. It seems pretty slapdash in a lot of ways. I'm still not sure like why characters know certain things or don't know certain things. Like I don't really care to find out. Perfectly honest, I just kind of wanted to see an alien get sucked out of a hole. Like that was great.
Yeah,
So, I don't know.
the beginning of this movie, it's sort of like it starts off like at a sprint. It's like, okay, Ripley's alive. Oh, she's a clone. Oh, she's got alien DNA and there's an alien inside of her and she's got acid blood and she's super strong and can make half-court shots behind her back and kick Ron Perlman in the nuts and there's nothing he can do about it. And like
the fucking dunk contest in this movie. What the fuck?
that was like a 90s trope.
It
It's
made me
right
think
up
of
there
that
with
Daredevil scene.
It's right up there with Catwoman in all-time basketball scenes that
Dude.
don't actually
Escape
have
from
basketball in
LA.
the movie. Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah,
it to have like the sound effects, like the sound mixing of like Demolition Man when Wesley Snipes is beating up the cops. It's like slapstick sound effects and shit like that. But no such luck. I don't know. It's very, very fucking strange that they chose to do it on that. There's a basketball in space in general is just such a fucking choice. I don't
Not
know.
even like a full court. It's like a half court. So I don't know how many people could just have fun unless they're playing horse, just like while they're waiting for their destination. Like it's a very strange set piece that just screams like, man, we need to just have these characters at one point doing something relatable that's not alien related. How about basketball on the show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Check.
Basketball is real hot right now. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, Michael Jordan's
Is
like,
Jordan
all the
available?
rage at this point. Let's have them play basketball. Maybe
Can we
a-
get Rodman on? Let's get Rodman on.
Rodman would fit pretty well on that ship.
He
I'm not gonna
would.
lie.
He would, yeah.
He would
Yeah,
make a
it
great
is,
space
it is a
pirate.
weird choice because like aesthetically, I think they go back to, I mean, it kind of is again this blend of the previous three because it's got that more color graded I guess like brown of 3, I feel like, where we're at the prison and stuff like that. But I mean, I feel like outside of having a basketball court on the ship, like it kind of like goes back to some basics, I think. And even having like the cast is fun. And I was excited to see, I didn't know who was in this movie. And like all the supporting cast, I think does a pretty good job and it's fun, but it's also very silly. But even when we covered Aliens, I mean, part of the fun was Hips Don't Lie Paxton and his fucking crazy lines, and they try
Every
to
movie
kind of
needs
do
that.
that here. It's not quite as on point, but it's
pretty
clearly
good.
like going back to that idea.
Yeah.
And Ron Perlman has like some like ridiculous, memorable lines and shit. And so yeah, I don't know. It's so kooky, but it's not so off the rails that makes you think like, whoa, this is some experimental piece. Like you clearly see
Right.
all the references from the previous entries. It's just kooky enough to be kind of like a little off the wall.
It's
Yeah.
kooky, but it's also like really kind of dark and
Oh, yeah.
fucked up in certain scenes too. So
True.
I think it's balancing the scales in a pretty satisfying way. I mentioned the clones when she like finds the one clone that's like still alive and then she just sets it on fire. Dude, that's a tough scene.
On fire though? What the?
Yeah,
like,
they have
what?
Come on.
guns. They have
Yeah, they're
guns.
like,
Shoot her in the head.
yeah, they're like, oh my god, put it out of its misery, and I'm like, all right, we'll make it a quick and painless death, and then just shoot the
Yeah.
flamethrower.
I know.
The most
All right, now
horrible way to go.
The worst
really
way.
horrible. And also immediately after that, Ron Perlman's like, "What a waste of ammo." I was like, "What ammo? What the fuck are you talking about?"
Also,
He
it's the
says-
only time that flamethrower is used is just to kill the clones. I don't think they use it any other time.
Winona Ryder just like pulled it out of her fucking like robot compartment that we'll never see again.
Yeah, that
very
that
strange
part
stuff.
was super twisted. And then like knowing that they're selling these humans in stasis pods to just basically be used for the chest bursters to break out of them was super dark. And I actually thought when the hybrid died at the end, it was pretty twisted because it seems to know
Yeah.
at least a minimal amount of English and is like
Well,
screaming.
it screamed with human tones, and it's like
Yeah.
that's effective. Like, that,
Yeah.
I mean, that works.
It was like not even a minute before Ripley is nuzzling with this creature before, and it's just like, oh my god, this is like insane. Like they're incredibly compassionate with each other, mother daughter, and then immediately gets like not just like sucked to the window, but just like eviscerated through this hole, and it just keeps cutting back to Alien and then Ripley going like crying like
Dude, yeah.
so emotional. And I'm just like, I'm watching it with my wife like earlier today, and we were just like, oh my god, this is so messed up to have in an Alien movie. Between all of that and the Whedon quips, it was just a tonal
yeah.
back ping pong for me. So
That's
yeah.
totally true. And like I don't there's something about that though that is interesting like on a story level where it's you watch that and you're like, "Oh, it's just as human in some ways as Ripley is." And then immediately you get reminded, "Oh, and she's just as alien as the xenomorph is at the same time." It's a
Yeah.
nice way to end it off, honestly. It's brutal and all the best ways. I don't know. I do like the way that they handle that, generally speaking. But it's like it also feels like the most comic booky choice they could have made for this franchise at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great ideas, like standalone pitches in this movie that you're just like, wow, that is a great, like, not only like thing to explore in the Alien universe, but like when you look at the whole Alien franchise in whole, you're kind of like, man, the franchise is kind of afraid to go down these routes ever again. They're just going back to try to maybe play the same Alien tropes before. But like anytime the franchise swings these wild lefts and rights, you're just like, whoa, I really appreciate that it's going for it. It's just hard to have all of these different ideas in one movie that you're trying to like parse. So like watching it a second time, it was like, oh yeah, okay, I can really appreciate now that I know that this leads to this and this leads to this. It's a fascinating rewatch, I'll say for sure.
Yeah.
And
they also like some of the kooky choice, like the kookiness. So those are the dark moments. Some of the kind of kookiness, the queen being pregnant and the way that it's pregnant and the way that it's presented looks so ridiculous. And that thing just like swats its fucking face off. It's just so kooky. But also those scientists are like so goofy too. Like him, oh, you beautiful butterfly. And it's like way over the top, which is kind of how he does in in City of Lost Children too, like these kind of kooky scientists and weirdos and stuff. And then even just like the quirky characters, Ron Perlman, obviously, but I mean, even just it's an interesting choice. Just having this guy in the wheelchair and like the design of it, and then he's got the gun hidden in it, and they've got the kooky gun in the thermos, and like just there's so
Dude,
many like
that-
little kooky things that just
The dude that
give it-
bounces his bullets.
Yeah, he's got the bullets.
Yeah, what
and
the
he's
fuck is this? What is this?
But it's-
Suddenly?
That is
You've
the
got a
worst
CSI
helmet, but-
guy.
The helmet is terrible. If you could ricochet a
Yeah.
bullet and then it goes to the helmet, we should be rethinking military
Yeah,
helmets.
that's a good point. Actually, it can ricochet off of like light fixtures, but not off of a fucking helmet for safety. Safety gear does not cut it.
It's a military grade
understand.
light fixture, but not a military grade helmet for some reason. Can't explain
I don't
it.
understand.
Dude, Brad
Go
Dourif like making out with the glass window the aliens are
Dude.
behind. Out of
Oh, yeah.
control. I've
Are you
loved-
waiting to receive my limp penis?
I could tell that he got the worm tongue role in Lord of the Rings strictly off this movie. He's good.
Dude, he
in it.
does a good like he does the Brad Dourif job though. He
Yeah.
like makes it very very like off-putting and strange, but in a quirky enough way to where you're just like, I can't stop watching this guy be the weirdo right now. I can't stop. So like I really liked him. Like a lot of the performances were like strange but like kind of great. I just don't know that they were like great for what I look for in an alien movie necessarily. Like the guy the other scientist that like makes it to the end almost. He like some of his reactions, man, are just fucking bananas. If you watch him, like he does like this wild-eyed fucking like Doc Brown impression when he's like being held captive by the pirates. It's crazy. I don't know how to describe it in a way that really sells what he's selling, but it is just so fucking weird. It's like he's like doing stage show while everybody else is performing a movie.
Well, even some of the characters that don't actually get a lot of screen time, like the kind of general who's there at first, and he's like super hairy and he
yeah.
like gets
Dude,
up
from
and,
Piggy's
and
Head.
the
hairiest
react-
shoulders I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Robin
like he's
Williams
got
could
wigs
never.
on his shoulders. Yeah.
but
He's
but they
got two
all kind of
bobs.
get yeah, it does. This movie does kind of it went a couple different swerves that I wasn't expecting, and like everybody, I mean, you do kind of expect a lot of people to get killed off, but one person, the kind of captain of the ship, I was super surprised that he was one of the first people that got taken out from the crew, and it's pretty like, yeah, it's a decent kill with the little mouth thing coming out of the alien, but I was like really surprised by that, and then having the guy in the wheelchair kind of like make it to the end, I was like, oh, that's kind of like a nice twist, and him having his gun and having his own moment and stuff like that, and like the client, I don't know, there was a couple different turns that I wasn't really expecting. They weren't mind blowing. They were just like, oh, that's kind of a nice little detail
Enjoyable.
that they did it that way. Yeah.
The
agree with that.
inclusion of Leland Orser in this movie. I forget his character's name, to be honest, but he's a great character actor. He's been in a ton of stuff. Every time I see him, the first thing I think of is the dad in The Guest. That's Leland Orser in that movie.
His name is Larry Purvis.
Larry Purvis, yeah, Purvis in this movie. But the best kill for me in this movie
Larry.
was when like he grabs Ren and puts him to his chest, and then he dies, but in the process kills Ren. I thought that was awesome.
That was
That was
cool.
kind of
really
fun, yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
It goes
I liked
to
him a
how-
lot, like
It goes to how wonderful this franchise is. I mean, I would say, like, yes, this is my least favorite one out of, like, if you count the Prometheus stuff as well. But the franchise rules because it takes these crazy swings, and the inventiveness of the deaths, but also like the correlation of all these different themes that are going on. Like, this movie is not an easy pill to swallow, but I'll never forget it. And that's why I was like interested in coming back on and talking with you guys on it, because it's just like, yeah, man, I'll revisit this strange oddity of a movie where the alien has like a weird human face and stuff like that. It's just a bizarre movie that I grow more affection of every time I think about it.
See, that's one difference that I definitely have from you is that I don't know that I'll remember this tomorrow. Like, I don't really like. There's like
More than
bits and
fair,
pieces
yeah.
I'll remember. Yeah, like, but yeah, I don't know. I like that in the later like entries of this series, they're really the studios are really just kind of like trying shit a little bit, and like Leland Orser is a great call. Like that is a great character actor. I just saw Faults not long ago. I think I mentioned it on the show. He was great in that. Like he's such a good actor, and I was really happy to see him just pop in all of a sudden. And like, yeah, his kill was great. But the thing is, like, some of these characters get like they get the short end of the stick on character deaths. In particular, I'm thinking of what is it, Christie or whatever, the guy with the guns or whatever. Like he kind of gets like he gets to sacrifice himself and all well and good or whatever, but the like the thing that's chasing him is the first that I can remember of like the full CG xenomorphs. Maybe not the first.
I think
but
they
like,
did in
just,
3, the dog.
They
like,
might have.
the-
Yeah.
that
The dog.
3, they're
thing.
experimenting,
Ooh,
but they
yeah.
definitely try to stay within that steady cam POV, I think, throughout 3.
Well, this is like bursting with light. It's like just full
Mhm.
view, and it doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Not by today's standards, and I don't know if it looked good by those standards either back then. And then when the sludge hits his face, the blood, and like starts melting him, it doesn't look good, man. He got short shrifted on that, and then immediately the way that resolves, it's kind of cool that like, okay, the guy in the wheelchair is able to like, he's taking the role of protector at that point and trying to climb his way up or protect this guy, and the guy sacrifices. That's all well and good, but fucking Ron Perlman doing this like Fast and Furious style, like I don't know, man. Come on.
That was kind of fun. That
I
was the
loved it,
90s
yeah.
It's so
action
silly.
cheese. It's very
They're
silly.
going-
It's
Yeah.
very
That's fine on
silly.
its own, but like that combined with what's supposed to be an emotional moment and bad CG, it just is a noxious brew for me.
After he does the lean back, he then like sees a little. He like comes back up and sees a tiny little spider and shoots it with his gun.
Oh
So
yeah.
that,
What
like,
is a spider doing in fucking space? I have
I
to
don't know.
ask.
I love that moment. It's ridiculous.
It's one of my lists of just thing that happened in the movie followed by lull in my movie. Like I just have a list of stray thoughts while I was typing watching the movie, and yeah, spider web getting shot with handgun lull. It's like my thing because it happens after like this weird brew of like emotional and bizarre and Hollywood action moments, and then it goes right to this one moment that was like, what? We had to get a spider web and a spider there just to get this handgun moment off. Like that's a calculated moment the filmmakers had to make. It's
Yeah.
what a weird choice.
It's like a punchline without a setup almost. It's just like here you go.
Yeah,
like,
totally. Oh, did you know that Ron Perlman likes to kill stuff? Have we not set that up enough for 90 minutes of movie?
Maybe they had like a
Speaking of-
spider setup joke or something like that, where it's like
it's just contractually obligated. Ron Perlman always appears with spiders in every film. That is
Yeah.
in the
I gotta shoot a
contract.
spider. Gotta do it.
Well, it's
Speaking of,
interesting
like-
too because
ahead, I'm
I was thinking of, so I'm definitely, we've this is the last one we've covered, right, Bob, except for Alien v Predator 2 or
Right,
something.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Requiem,
yeah.
So for the most part, we've covered all of these films, and I'm definitely more in the camp of I prefer Alien over Aliens, even though they're both really good films. But I prefer the serious, darker tone and like the horror aspects and like the smaller scale and the more seriousness of it all. But it's weird because it feels now like 3 and 4 are just kind of watered down versions of those first two. You have those first two, and then comparing these two, I would say that Alien 3 is definitely more in the vein of Alien, and then Resurrection is definitely more kind of like leans more toward Aliens. But when they're when they're kind of like lesser movies, I definitely kind of appreciate more of the kookiness of this one over 3, because 3, I mean, I know there was a lot of interference, and I would have loved to seen what it would have been like, had Fincher been able to like realize what he wanted to do. But ultimately, I think I will remember more of this one just because it is so off the wall, and like I really like the Ron Perlman shooting, even though it doesn't look good, but the aliens like swimming through water and stuff, it has this 90s action like nostalgia to it that's somewhat charming for me, and I don't know how that holds up for anyone who's not like familiar with those kinds of films or who doesn't like them. But for me, I don't know, I was like, yeah, okay, this is a lesser than Alien movie, but these weird pieces make it worth something, or made it entertaining. I wasn't bored with this movie.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like I kind of need it to be a version of 2 more than I need it to be a version of Alien, because that's like that's lightning in a bottle situation. Even Aliens didn't recapture the lightning in a bottle. It just found a different approach
Found a
that
different
worked really well
bottle.
because James Cameron is James Cameron. But like, yeah, and then like eventually they just like they start kind of like to me, I don't remember 3 well enough to know which one it's most correlating to, but this one is definitely an Aliens offshoot. It like hits many of the same beats, and it's all that changes is the set pieces, and the stylization is just so like Matrix era shit. Like just this is, if this had been released one year later, Wire Fu would have been all through this motherfucker like crazy. It's just going for like, you know, big set pieces or whatever. And by the way, like the sets and like not just the set pieces, but like the sets, everything, like they put money into this thing. It looks great, like on all the practical bits. All those things look great. And I do appreciate a lot of those like action bits kind of in isolation. They just don't. It doesn't strike horror in any way to me, and that's ultimately fine, because I instead get a passable action flick, and that's all. Like if I take it on that level, I'm having a good time. So that I kind of felt the same way about Alien 3, to be honest. Just like if I just kind of like set my expectations way down here, where it's just like I just want to see some fun shit, I have a good time. So that's kind of how I approach all Alien movies at this point, outside of the first 2.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, Alien 3, I really like Alien 3, but I get more heartbroken by that one because I think that first like 45 minutes of Alien 3 are like on course for something really dark and depressing as hell.
That's right.
And then they do have like a couple of really great practical elements with the alien basically becoming alien dog creature that really just make it feel more feral of a movie, and just in ways that the other 2 movies couldn't. But yeah, production woes and everything kind of get in the way of that movie, and that movie kind of just breaks your heart a little bit more. This one, I think, because you can already tell as soon as it starts, it's a tonal clash between writing and directing, where they're just on different movies, that you're kind of like, all right, well, I'm in this weird middle zone that this movie's ping-ponging with, that I kind of can get on board with it, and my expectations can adjust quickly. Because yeah, there is some like really beautiful striking stuff, like, yes, like as you know Justin was talking about before, it's just like there is this like back to old school gritty brown vibes, but there's also this hazy bloom that comes around all of these like weird fluorescent lights that get kind of like an otherworldly heavenly kind of thing, as we deal with these weird themes with Ripley and being a clone and being reborn, but also making this weird alien hybrid creature. So that's why it's like a fascinating like mess of a movie, where like every corner you're like, I love that, I just don't know how it connects with any of this. So I will adjust my expectations every time I watch this, and I feel like I'll have a pretty decent time, to say the least. As they were saying, not boring. It is an entertaining movie, and I'd rather have wild swings that miss than safe choices that I've seen done a dozen times.
Yeah,
totally. Which they also do, to
agree.
be fair. I mean, how many times are we gonna get, oh my god, you're a robot? It's like
every movie.
On the rewatch, that was probably my biggest disappointment. I was like, oh right, I forgot that like Winona Ryder is like a late stage plot twist that kind of doesn't add too much for me, because they just don't give her like enough character to start with. You're just kind of like, who? I feel like Winona Ryder's like too big of an actor to play this role. What's happening here? And then when they play the twist at the end or near the end, I'm like, oh, this I wish came earlier, and I wish we could dig into it a little more, because right now it's
more.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the humanity of the robots, that was so well like executed in an Alien and Aliens. There's really no need to go back to the aren't they? Wait, you're just a toaster. You're just a toaster oven, blah, blah, all this shit. Like, we don't need that anymore. So just have her be a fucking robot, and just like have
it seemed
her
like they were trying to have
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of like parallel with like there's like a mother-daughter situation happening between Call and Ripley, but there's also this interesting parallel where like Ripley is this human created by other humans in a bizarre like cloning fashion, not the old-fashioned way, and then like this Call is an android that's been designed by other androids, so there's this weird like copy situation happening. When they find that out, they like connect on a different level in that way. But I don't think it's just like kind of mentioned and not.
Yeah.
They don't really like dig into
They don't
anything with
explore
it.
any of
But
that,
it could have potentially resulted in some interesting conversations between them. But it's just not really there.
I'm always so thrown by these. This is kind of like a departure, but like I'm always kind of thrown by these movies because it seems like as this like there's always some sort of connection with the lore, right? Like they never neglect to like write in like what happened to this character like but they don't they give it the screen time but not the reverence necessarily, so it doesn't feel like it just feels like a hard reset with this movie just because they couldn't get fucking Paxton to like it was Paxton that survived in Aliens or in no I'm sorry
No.
I'm going back to
Game
movies now,
over,
sorry.
man.
Whatever happened at the end of Alien 3, like it just didn't seem like it like I don't know, it didn't
Ripley
really-
dies, right? Like that's
Yeah,
like
she throws herself in the
that's like
fire.
should be done. So the fact that they
It
like
just-
bring her back is such a strange
just
choice
feels-
already.
You know a movie
Yeah.
is gonna be kick-ass when it's whatever the franchise is, followed by resurrection. It's always
I
a
know.
slam dunk.
Also, they're aping or not aping. They're like the Prometheus of that green font subheading that you love from Godzilla '98, Bob. So congrats on
Oh,
that.
good pull.
You have this
That's
movie
what
to
that
thank.
is. Uh,
The greatest film ever made. Godzilla '98.
Sure.
the Taco Bell tie-ins will forever live in my brain. with Godzilla guys.
Same, dude.
Oh my god.
Same.
I had my so many gorditas during that time. It was a beautiful
I
time,
have to
97,
complete my
98.
collection.
Gotta catch them all, man.
Yeah, man.
There was some interesting like camera work in this movie too that felt a little original to this movie. It was like very like, kinetic, and there was that one like wild down the throat shot that they do. I don't know, it just seemed to have some more movement than in some of the other installments.
Yeah, they do some stylish design. I even saw like some great like camera work where the camera would pivot based off, who had the threat of the situation. Like, anytime like there was one point where a camera went tilt down and like became like a gun close up as soon as like Ron Perlman stepped closer in and just changed the dynamic of a shot. So that's a very well realized visual movie at times. Like and these like close-ups that are also used on wide angle lenses that just give this like really you're in their face, especially when it was in the Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder, like heart to heart while they're like quote unquote stitching up or pulling, like her being plugged into the ship to
Pushing goop back into
pushing goop back in, and also like realizing the stakes for the final 20 minutes. They just have this crazy little heart to heart that is like shot very intimately because of the lens choices they use. So it's like a very well realized movie that in terms of like their visual take and where the camera is going, that if it had like a different writer on the script, I wonder what kind of movie this would end up feeling like overall. I don't know.
Yeah, probably something totally different.
We would not have doors that were locked by people's breath.
Dude,
Right,
oh
yeah,
my god.
Dude, that shit
The
is
spray
I don't know
bottles.
about
Yeah, I
the
don't.
spray bottles.
Yeah.
That is the
I don't know
strangest
about-
thing I've seen in a sci-fi in quite a
And
while.
he
I totally
got it
forgot about it.
wrong. He fucking the captain like has to breathe twice because like rejected or whatever.
Don't
It's
drink
like,
too much coffee or you might be locked out of your office.
dude. What the and also like that I immediately I don't like this is probably just a me thing, but I'm a huge fan of the show Community. I've seen it like every episode too many times. And there's the John Goodman character at one point. John Goodman's in like a handful of episodes as the air conditioner repair school dean, and he opens up what is the room temperature room with by breath print, and I immediately thought of fucking John Goodman when this happened. I was like, holy shit, is Dan Harmon riffing on this? Is that what that was? I thought he just made up
didn't
some
even think about
bullshit.
it.
Oh my god. Sorry. That was just it's just me nerding out on that shit. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of like interesting bits to this movie, but it just doesn't amount to a whole lot in my brain. It's just kind of like glosses
Same.
right over the old cerebrum.
Yeah.
There was another sort of moment where I realized they were calling the military ship Father. And
Yeah.
they do that. They call, the ship Mother in the other movies, or at least one of them anyways. And like Father is run by all these men that are trying to create life, and they're just like fucking up royally. And I thought there was like some interesting commentary that could have been like drawn out of that. But again, they just kind of like mention it, and like the pieces are in play, but like, I don't know, maybe that was supposed to be delved in more. Maybe that was in the script and they didn't. I don't know, but also like I'm along for the ride here, and like watching this like crazy 90s action movie. Like specifically when they went and like swam underwater in the kitchen, I was like, oh, this is totally like giving me the deep blue sea vibes that I
Yes.
I love.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah. So like I'm down with that too. That's totally fine. So
Wait, did this come out before or after Deep Blue Sea? I can't remember.
I think
Ooh, I think
before.
Oh, really?
Deep Blue Sea was 99. Let me double check. I could be wrong.
It definitely
99,
felt like
yeah.
a
Deep Blue Sea came after.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Deep Blue Sea just as an Alien Resurrection fan, they just really wanted to pay
Dude.
homage.
Yeah.
to the
Yeah, I mean, one of the cinematic greats. You got to pay your homages.
Mhm.
Did Ron Perlman say you killed my bird at any point in this movie? Did I miss that?
Oh man, there's.
I also too, I would say for a fourth movie in a franchise, especially talking about the resurrection aspect of it, where the main character has died, it's definitely one of the like more acceptable, passable, like, yeah, okay. I don't know. It's not hard for me to just accept and then go along with the story, even though it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. It doesn't feel offensive it doesn't make me, I mean, I don't know, maybe because they lean into the kookiness, or there's some kind of weird perfect balance that makes me just go like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And go along with it and not be mad or like scoff or think lesser of it. I don't know. It's just kooky enough for me to be like, this is kind of what it is, and
It's like
and be fine with it.
Sorry, Michael, you were going to say something. I think.
No, go ahead.
I was just like, they just announced Toy Story 5, and I kind of have the same reaction to that, where it's like, well, they already said everything. Whatever this
Well.
is, it's gonna be dog shit, and maybe I can enjoy some of that dog shit. Maybe I like some dog shit.
I think that's
you
a
know?
good way to put it. It's like, we already have the perfect Alien movie in Alien. We already have the perfect Aliens movie in Aliens. Why not take your swings now and see what sticks? Because, I said, like I was saying before, I settled in pretty easily once I realized that the movie was bouncing back and forth between things. Like for every cool moment where it's like, oh my God, the aliens escape by like killing one of their own in order for the blood to like make a hole. They swing back with like a line drop being like, what did you expect, Santa Claus? And I'm just like, what? This movie's keeping me on my toes, and I admire it in almost in a weird way. Yeah, it's a weird one that I will grow more affectionate of. It's definitely, I wish either there was another director that tackled Whedon's script or another writer tackling the director's vision. And
There's
I think
something Sorry, go ahead.
that's it. No, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I cut you off. I was just gonna say, like, there's something about the humor in this that feels distinctly French to me. Like, it does, like, I don't know, like, what did you expect, Santa? I don't know why that hits like it's the funniest thing in the world in Gay Paris. I don't know why. It just that's just how it hits me. It doesn't feel like something that was like, it's not like pithy like you like later day Joss Whedon type stuff in the same way. It's just sort of like, it feels stilted somehow and like not catered to American tastes. No, like it's not a, well, that happened sort of thing. It's
That's
more of
true.
like just, which we're so inundated with that it's fine. Like I'm happy not to see that, but it just doesn't feel tailored for audiences in America for some reason. I could be completely off base about that, but it feels that way to me.
Well, and even the action sequences, like they kind of feel that way. They feel like not a mockery, but a kind of doing this silly kind of American style, but in a weird French kind of way. Having the guns pop out and reflecting off, having this like big blaster in a
Yeah.
fucking thermos. Yeah, it feels just like kind of somebody, not making fun, but just having fun with the
It's like
kind of
it's a
regular
French
tropes.
person making an American film. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like. It
Yeah.
feels like in Arrested Development when they go to Fat Tammy's American restaurant run by British people and they serve them a basket of donuts before their meal. Like,
Yeah.
One of my closest buddies, Mike, you guys know Mike, just went to Paris for 2 weeks and came back, and I had dinner with him last night. We were talking about his trip. He played golf with a Frenchman, and they had a beer at the clubhouse afterwards, and they were asking each other, like, what are the in France, what are like the stereotypes about Americans and vice versa? And they were exchanging them. The first thing the French dude said was like, well, that Americans are just stupid, So that might explain some of this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
well,
it
I
feels
mean,
like
that's-
Janae is like tackling a Firefly episode and just giving
Totally,
a very
yeah.
like funny parody take on what this group of pirates are gonna do when an alien comes through and just wreaks havoc. Or just like quippy one-liners, shooting bullets ricocheting like an Western, and then they slowly get eaten all alive.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when you look at it from that angle, at least. So
And but in the
Yeah.
fairness though, like there was also an element of something like that anyway, or at least I don't know if it was an intentional, but like it was like in Aliens, like the characters, the Space Marines are so batshit bananas,
That's
but
true.
it doesn't feel. It feels like it's James Cameron, and it feels like an American who knows American audiences showing you what he assumes an American audience wants to see, versus somebody who is not necessarily entrenched in the same ways, trying to interpret and soothsay what this script in English is saying to an audience of Americans, and just trying to do like, okay, well, we'll have fucking Ron Perlman flip upside down and shoot the thing, just because we gotta, like, they're gonna get bored otherwise and start masturbating in the theater or something. Like, we gotta do something to keep these fucking idiots engaged.
That's a good way to put it.
Damn.
I would say Aliens, you're right. Aliens has like this thing because at least Cameron has this reverence towards like Marines and military life. Like he's so like well versed in how they work. So that when they set up like, hey man, we got the Marines here. Aliens are no match for this alien that you know from Ridley Scott's version is no match for Americans with guns, and then it is dismantled when more than one pops on the scene, and they have no protocol, no way of going about it, and it's a really great, clean, like set up expectation and then rip it all down. And so that's why that movie kind of is at least lived on in American culture for a while. It's just like, oh man, that is insane.
Like, I would watch that and say that's badass, but I watch Ron Perlman flip upside down, and I think that's a Vin Diesel move.
Yeah.
The Fast and Furious movies have a place in all of our hearts too. You just got to open the
Yeah.
garage and let it drive in.
Well, also to be honest too, this actually worked out pretty well. Complete accident, but I also watch, I don't know if we'll get to what you've been watching today, but I also just happened to watch Pacific Rim again this week. I hadn't seen it in years.
Yeah.
And it's got a little bit of that. It's much better in what it's doing and its style and stuff like that, but it's got some of these same kind of elements where you're
think you're
taking
right.
this like established kind of thing, these kaiju films, and you're just kind of leaning into a little bit of how silly it is, but also but not mocking it. It's like having fun with it and giving it a lot of like style and just, I don't know, and it ends up being really fun and ridiculous in a lot of ways, but I don't know. So it's got a touch of that where
It's an
I'm watching
intangible
this.
thing.
Yeah, I'm watching this and I'm thinking like, this is very silly. This is very ridiculous, but I'm having a ton of fun with it. So it's fine. So yeah, I don't know. That was actually a pretty solid pairing this week because they both kind of like lean into that like ridiculous nature of like some films that they're playing off of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Double
and there's
dose of
movies that
Perlman
try
as
this and
well, which
fail.
Oh, thank
fail
God.
on multiple levels. Like I think about Halloween. What is it? Is it Curse? The one where Michael cries. Like that's the one. Like I don't know, man. Like there's movies where they take these big swings. They do that, like, and that was done by I want to say a French guy as well. I could be wrong, but somebody it was foreign, and he kept telling people like, oh yeah, this is what American teens like to say, so this is what you're gonna say. And or like Troll 2 did the same thing. It was like, where the director was insistent, like, no, a teenager in America would say this, and the teenager from America who's playing the role was like, no, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, he fucking wouldn't, and he's still just going for it. It like, I don't know. There's some sort. It can go a number of different ways, I guess is what I'm saying. And so like that's not necessarily a death sentence. It's just a weird thing that it's like an unsanded edge for somebody who's just like knows what Americans watch typically.
It's like a weird translation. It's just basically
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah, like, oh, here's just another viewpoint from another culture, just translating what is seen from these types of movies. And you get this strange, bizarre feeling and character read and vibe that it's at least fascinating to watch in that angle for sure.
Yeah.
Turns out this is a perfect film. Look at that. Who would have thought?
Wow.
Wow, I come on for the only perfect movie. This is perfect, guys.
This is
Thank you
it.
for having me.
This is the
Only
only
perfect
one.
movies from here on out.
We all know Alien was okay at best, but Alien Resurrection, on the other hand, you know, holy
Ridley
shit.
was like, I'm just making sure the runway's clear in like 20 years for Alien Resurrection to finally perfect what I'm doing.
It's just scratching the surface, you know.
all
Any
set up.
any other major points you guys want to touch before we go ahead and rate this thing?
Let me see. I don't know. Let me look at my stray thoughts for a second.
I'm gonna
Catch
engage
and
with my
stray.
stray thoughts as well, but they're not written.
They're
They
mostly sexual.
thoughts arrive
sure.
like butterflies.
Searching.
You know, I won't be like that guy who just pokes at lots of like weird holes, like the helmet having a bullet hole in it for some reason, or the breathalyzer door locks. But it is strange that in order to save the day and save Earth, they crash a giant ship that basically destroys a
Yes!
third of Earth.
Thank you. What the fuck? That was an extinction level event that they
Yeah.
showed on screen, and then they're just like, "Wow, we won."
And there's beautiful music. They're flying through the clouds, and it's not like just maybe a billion people just died.
Dude, Brazil is no more, or whatever that was. Like, it's just no longer there. The ripple was visible from fucking space.
Like on Earth, they're just like, I can't believe it. They're just like a ship that came out of nowhere that crashed. And then when the Betty lands, they're gonna be like, we just saved all of you guys.
You're
We
welcome.
saved you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're like, well, thanks for the nuclear winter, assholes. What the fuck?
And
Also,
there's still
too,
a xenomorph probably still alive on that thing too, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I know. And that's the other thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna crash it onto the planet. That's definitely gonna take care of the problem. No way that anything can survive.
Also, too, yeah, the 3-hour countdown and they're flying by Jupiter. It's what the fuck? 3 hours. Oh God, till we get to Earth, Jupiter.
It's a very Futurama moment. They feel like there should be a signpost there floating on a
We'll just
rock.
fill up at this gas station on Titan and then we'll be good to go. So.
Right, yeah. Getting
All
big
right.
gulp. I think that was the biggest point we're gonna get.
That
out
was
of
that was
these.
my
I
last
think
thing.
so,
I
yeah.
think there was lots of little things, but I think we covered them all. Hairy shoulders, lots of great character actors. This is a really lots of really good points covered. I really am
Genuinely,
glad
their
to
shoulders
watch
should
it.
be shaved for locks of love. It's insane.
Dude,
It's insane.
it was incredible. That's got to be the hairiest man that's ever lived. That's out of
God
control.
love him.
Hairy.
All right, well, let's go and do it. Let's rate this movie out of 5. Michael, why don't you kick us off, man? How do you feel? And you can do half points, quarter points, get crazy with it, whatever you want to do.
You know, with movies like these, they're kind of hard to rate because, like, you know, I feel like it's such like a mathematical, like 1 to 5. Is it like the greatest movie I've ever seen? I can't help but give it. I'm gonna be strangely high on it. I might give it a 3.5 out of 5, just because it's just taking too many strange swings to dismiss.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of attention to detail. It's just maybe people didn't go to meetings at the same time or whatever for this movie, but it can't help that they have really cool things to say in Alien Resurrection.
Cool. You want to split the difference? 3 1/4?
I'll do 3.5.
3.5. All
Yeah.
right.
3.17
7 out of
for
10.
Peting.
Yeah. 3 point. Let's just call it pi out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do 9 out of 5. There you go.
Whatever you want, man. I'll write it down. Cool. Ray and DZ, what about you?
Yeah, I went back and looked at the scores from previous Alien franchise films that I've reviewed, and I think I just kind of feel similarly to how I felt after watching Alien 3, which was that I had a better time. I had a good time. Oh, hold on, let me set that back. I had more fun than I didn't have. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely had a positive experience, but it was just marginally positive because it was very, very silly and dumb. So I'm gonna give it a 3 flat and just call it that. Yeah, that's good for me.
A flat 3 from Randy. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I feel the same kind of way. I liked the cast. It was fun. It starts off weird, but it has it's got some cool dark moments. The clone, the burning, the aspects that they play with that. It's got some fun kooky moments, the crazy weapons, the fight scenes. I like the swimming underwater, even though it doesn't look particularly good. It's got some fun kills, like the chest burster coming through and go through the guy's head. Just some weird aspects, like the dude in the wheelchair and his hidden gun and putting this shotgun together, and like the acid going on his leg, but he doesn't know about it. Doesn't really mean anything. Just some the breath stuff. But then also there's some, I don't like the way the alien looks at the end. It looks not so great. And then also just the way the queen is pregnant. It looks ridiculous. I don't, but it's entertaining. I don't know, something about it was just hitting the right vibe for me. And for my money, if I had to somehow separate these two, I think I would want more of the director than I would want of Joss here. Just because I think the style's so particular, and I do like this director, and he always it's not just him being French. He does have a weird way of doing weird dark things, just things that feel kind of off a little bit. So
he's an artsy type. He's one of them art weirdos.
One of those art directors. So yeah, but yeah, it was fun. So I will I think I'll give it a 3 as well. I'll give it a 3 as well. I think I enjoy, I think this one will live more in my mind than Alien 3 did. Even though I did like aspects of Alien 3, I felt like that movie was more missed potential, where this one is just whoa, that's just weird.
You bitch!
You describing the Queen Xenomorph just reminded me of Hedonist Robot from Futurama. Just how it's just laid
just
up
on
with
the
big
back.
belly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
I regret nothing.
So on point.
Yeah.
Bob, out of 5, where are you gonna rate Alien Resurrection?
Yeah, it's similar to what you were saying, Juice. I was just thoroughly entertained the whole time this movie was on. When it first launches out of a cannon, I was like, what the fuck is happening? But once you kind of get your boundaries set and settle in for the ride, it's just a lot of fun, I think. The goofy quips, the characters are just really entertaining. There's a lot of fucked up shit along the way too. If you want the more gory kills and the science fiction stuff is all there. The hybrid alien with its nose, I don't know, man. It's there's some weird choices in here for sure that maybe aren't perfect, but I like the ideas behind them pretty consistently. I think it's not as tight as it could be, but it is it's an extremely entertaining movie, and it's one that I would put on, if I had to rank them, I would put this before 3. I think 3 was mostly, I don't know, just less entertaining overall, and it does it feels like that has faded in my memory quite a bit, but I feel like this one probably won't. I guess we'll see in time. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered it all. It's just an entertaining movie, and I'm down for it, generally speaking. I'm gonna come in with a 3.75 on this one, and
Nice.
that's gonna.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
the brave rating.
Almost
the rating
as
we
good
all
as
wanted
Alien
to do.
1.
Almost as
Yes,
good.
yes, I am brave, Michael. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's it like to be so brave?
I know. With my brave rating calculated in, it's going to put the aggregate at a 3.3 for Alien Resurrection.
That's higher than the overall Letterboxd average of 2.6. So
Yeah, we're
that's-
stupid, so
look it up.
that makes sense.
Yeah, turns out we are pretty stupid.
we're all brave. We're all much
That's
braver.
right.
We're so
Stupid
brave.
and brave are not that different, really.
Yeah, the Venn
Great.
diagram, I mean, the circles are just on top of each other.
Yeah,
We're
they're
so
just
brave we
right.
don't know better. So
Yeah, exactly.
Boys, let's go ahead and get into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users have to say.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these gents guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is for Alien Resurrection on RottenTomatoes.com. Starting with the critic score and then moving on to audience. So on the critics, there are just 160 reviews counted here. So the tally here comes from a source of 160 reviews. I'm going to start with Bob today. Bob, what percentage of those reviews would you wager are positive reviews?
I don't see this being super high. Like I heard exclusively negative things about this before I actually watched it. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be very high. I'll take 25%.
25 percentile. All right. Soju, come in next. What are you doing? Where are you going with this one?
Oh, I hope it's higher than that. I'll go 40%.
40. All right. And Michael, round us out. Going
Yeah,
high, going low.
Yeah, I don't know, because Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, I remember when it came out at the time, everyone just straight up hated it. And like it wasn't even mixed when I remember, and that's why it took so long to watch. But Rotten Tomatoes adds reviews all the time, so maybe it got some reacclimation. I'll split the difference and do like a 33, maybe 35%.
Okay, 35%. Okay, cool. 35%. Let me do some quick brain math here. I'm very good at this. This is very easy. Okay, 16 percentage points is the difference between the correct answer and the best guess. So that, did I say that right? Did I say this? So
Yeah, no, you
Probably.
reacted.
I don't know why.
Justin
yeah.
just gave me a look like, what are you
Well,
fucking
no,
saying?
because I was thinking I don't think it's gonna be
Is it-
higher. So
but
I'm
is it that
assuming
low?
it's gonna be like dirt low.
Oh,
So, you're wrong. It's a 56%, which means
Hey.
that Juice,
Okay.
you're gonna walk away with this one actually.
Oh, what the hell,
56.
yeet! All right.
Aw, congrats on
Yeah.
your yeet.
Yeah, all right. That's a lot higher than when you said 16% and Bob said like 23. I was like, oh God, is it single digits?
wow.
That would be nuts if it was.
That's what I
What was
thought.
A-
That's where I thought
what's
you were
Alien
going.
3? What's Alien 3 in comparison to that?
Yeah, we already
Ooh, I'd
looked
have
it
to
up,
look
so
it
we're
up.
not ruining the game. I'll look it up, Randy.
Okay, look it up real quick.
Man, I wonder if it's higher
while-
than Alien 3.
While you're doing that, Michael, let's go over to the audience score. You're going to go first this time around in reverse order. There are over 250,000 reviews on audience score, so take that into account. What percentage would you say are positive reviews?
I would probably say my same score then as I predicted with critical was. I would probably say 35%. I think it's
35?
less of a crowd pleaser just because it just bumps up so many expectations.
All right, fair enough. Juice, you're going to come in the middle here. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I think people might get I think it might be similar. I think everybody might end up saying like, yeah, there's some weird things in here. There's some fun things in here. So I'll go 55 then, since the critics was 56.
All right, 55. 55 from Soju. Bob, round us out. Up, high, down, low. Where are you going to go?
Too slow. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna go right down the middle with a 50.
All right, down with a 50.
Some
okay.
might say a brave choice. I don't know.
Oh, man. I don't
Not
know
as
how you
brave
do it.
as your 3.75 out of 5. My God.
My
Damn
God.
it.
Does anyone want to switch seats?
All right. So much closer on this one. Only 4 percentage points away is the correct answer. And that correct answer is 39%. Michael's going to walk away with this one.
Whoa!
He still
Nice.
guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me get a
that's why we
Blu-ray and
won
put it in a
trivia.
plaque.
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
All right. Give me an Alien
Bob's got a
Resurrection.
million of them. He'll hook you up.
On the way.
Take your pick.
Oh,
Um,
all
yeah.
right.
But to answer your
Yeah.
question from earlier, and this is probably how I kind of feel about it too. So 56 was Alien Resurrection, right? On the critic score.
Correct.
So this one, it is higher. Alien 3 was 45. And I think I personally rated Alien 3 2.5 and then this one a 3. So I kind of like slightly like it. So yeah, it's a little bit higher. A little bit higher.
Yeah, I think you and Bob gave it a 2.5. I think I gave it a 3. Because
Yeah.
I was just like, I enjoyed myself because I didn't expect much.
Yeah.
I came up much higher on Alien 3, but only because I was loving it until it got hampered, but you know,
Yeah.
I think I was like a
Yeah.
3 and 5 on that one.
It really
I
does
wish
shoot itself in
Fincher
the
could
ass.
have. Yeah. Like if you even if this film existed as it is, like God, all these 4 different directors just having their full swing at Alien
It's
would
kind
have
of
been
like
fantastic.
what Evil Dead franchise is doing now, but nobody expects the Evil Dead franchise to be consistent with itself, so
Yeah.
there's no problem.
Yeah.
That's a
Um,
really good point that Evil Dead is the new like filmmaker like
Yeah, it's like-
swing franchise. It's
Didn't they just get like 2 new movies greenlit?
and from like 2
2
different filmmakers. Yeah, it's
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
I kind of love it. I love that they're doing this.
I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
Yeah, it's a breeding ground now. That's great. All right, now we're gonna do as we always do and find a couple negative reviews. Sometimes they're funny. It's what we're aiming for, and you know we get like a 20% success rate. So here's a negative review that I have not pre-screened. The sense of mystery and anticipation that defined Ridley Scott's original Alien here dissolves into a series of more or less overt encounters with no more poetry or suspense than an evening of professional wrestling. That's pretty apt.
Shots fired.
But
That's
it's
pretty apt.
entertaining, just like
Yeah,
wrestling.
exactly.
I
I
love
know, if I'm-
wrestling.
I
I
don't-
love writing wrestling or wrestle
don't-
writing. Yeah.
I would love to. I mean, I don't go to a wrestling match expecting to, talk about a gender studies issue. Just like I didn't come to this movie expecting that either.
But you do expect
So-
Ron Perlman swinging upside down with guns flailing in a wrestling
Oh,
match.
Right.
I always expect Ron Perlman in every wrestling match. That's my expectation, and it's always fallen short of. But I always expect it. All right, one more negative review just for the funsies. Here we go. It may be dazzling to the eyes and upsetting to the stomach, but the part of the body that an alien movie is supposed to affect the most, the sweat glands, barely even feel it. Boy, that was.
What?
I'm gonna introduce another orifice for you to stick this review up into.
I thought it was about to get real sexual for a second, but
All right, guys, what's your sweat gland rating?
I don't know.
I'm like
I'm a-
like a moist out of like damp, whatever the scale
Call
with that
me
would be.
swampy on this one. I don't know.
I'm a little wet tissue,
fresh out the shower, some might
Oof,
say.
yeah.
Fresh out of the shower out of 5. That's the scale.
Out of-
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
It is.
All right. So that's it for our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Bob, how's that trivia looking? You got any?
Oh, yeah, there's a decent amount. Let's do it.
It's totally time for trivia.
Oh, yeah, there's trivia on this one. Sigourney Weaver did not want to make this movie. She was totally
That is
uninterested.
clear, by the way.
Yeah. The only reason she ended up agreeing to do it, and this is a quote from her, she said, "They basically drove a dump truck full of money to my house." And that's why she agreed.
There you go.
There you go.
She apparently made 11 million in 97, and if you adjust that, it is about 21.5 million in today's
Dude.
dollars.
I respect that she's forthright about that because a lot of people in these movies or whatever, they say, "Oh yeah, I just, it's good to see the old gang," or whatever they want to fucking say about it to make it seem like they want to be there, but the performance definitely says otherwise.
Yeah. She got cheesed up. Your boy Ron Perlman nearly drowned while filming the underwater sequence. At one point, he was trying to surface and hit his head on a sprinkler in the ceiling, knocking himself out cold, and he was rescued. But yeah, that's some dangerous shit.
Damn.
Ooh. This would not be the movie you'd want to pass away making.
No.
No.
Oh,
Tough
be
one to
terrible.
go out on.
Oh.
Sigourney did sink that over-the-shoulder half-court shot. It took
Oh,
several times apparently, but she did do it. So
All right.
good for
That's
her.
fucking
I would
awesome.
never be able to hit that shit.
I think I looked at like there was a YouTube like rough take of it like from set that I don't want to talk about that, but I think I remember watching it where when she sunk it, the crowd in the the whole crew just goes insane. They just go like, "Oh my god, she sunk it!" and everyone freaks out. So
That's awesome.
That's
I think it's somewhere on YouTube if you check it out.
That's badass.
Bullshit luck. Bullshit luck.
The full-size newborn animatronic puppet was originally filmed with genitals. Here, gender studies, Randy, you mentioned it. That
Whoa.
were mixed between both male and female genitals, but they had to be digitally removed. Apparently on studio orders, but I also read a quote from the director later on that was something like, you know, I'm French and can get down with a lot of shit, but even that was too much for me. It's like,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, he made it.
he did. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
He's like, I swung too far on myself.
What have I done?
I asked for
God.
genitals,
Yeah,
but now that I see him, oh my God, what was I thinking?
It was his Dr. Frankenstein moment. He's like, oh God, what horrors have I wrought?
It's alive.
All right.
Yeah, when Winona Ryder agreed to do this movie before reading the script, specifically because she wanted to be able to brag to her brothers for being in an Alien movie. Just signed
Fair
on.
enough.
All right. Yeah, that is fair.
Okay.
I appreciate the honesty in all of these,
Yeah, right,
these
like,
actors just being like, oh yeah, they paid me a lot. Oh yeah, I just wanted to brag to my brothers and make them jealous. Great. I love it. Very human of you.
Dr. Wren was originally written for Bill Murray, apparently, with the intent of reuniting him and Sigourney Weaver, because they were co-stars in Ghostbusters. Which I think the character of Wren, I think Bill Murray could have pulled it off. Honestly, I could see that.
Which one was Ren?
He was sort of the guy that like double crosses them, and then gets
Okay.
he gets murdered
Yeah.
by the chest.
Not Brad
burster.
Dourif, but the other guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. The guy with the crazy eyes. Okay. I
crazy,
liked him.
Crazy Eyed Wren. Yeah.
I can't picture
prefer
Bill
him.
Murray in a water tank though, swimming at any given
Yeah.
moment.
He
You
doesn't
wanna
look
talk
very
about,
limber.
not putting in effort. Bill is not going to swim.
Yeah.
He would quip
Body
and then
double
immediately get killed.
Yeah.
The cloned queen's head was in fact the very same used to portray the queen in Aliens, and they had to source it from a collector by the name of Bob Burns. When they found it, it was, you know, in rough shape, but they had to repaint it and touch it up or whatever. But yeah, some dude collector just had it somehow. So
And he
Does
got it
Bob
touched
Burns
up.
Does Bob Burns have the weird genitals that they digitally removed?
God, I
You
hope
got a
so.
bed with it?
Bob Burns is like, I'm still here. Come back if you want the channel.
What if they went to him for Romulus and got the genitals, and we're about to see that shit next week?
Dude, maybe.
Oh, my God.
They-
Don't get me
yeah.
more
Right.
excited.
the genitals. Oh my God. I can only be so erect.
Where's your sweat gland level now? Like off the
Oh.
charts?
Oh my
I'm in the shower.
I moved it up to I'm stuck in the Sahara Desert level.
In the
I'm in the
sauna
deep
right
end.
now.
Oof.
Like nothing I'd ever smelled before in my life.
Damn. This is the last bit of trivia I have. In October of 2022, filmmaker Jean-Pierre Jeunet responded to a long-running feud with co-writer Joss Whedon about this movie. Whedon previously criticized Jeunet's movie, saying, quote, "They did everything wrong that they could possibly do. It wasn't so much that they changed the script, it's just they executed it in such a ghastly fashion as to render it almost unwatchable." Jeunet not only blasted Whedon in response, but also the current genre of superhero films by saying, quote, "He's very good at making films for American geeks, something for morons, because he's very good at making Marvel films. I hate this kind of movie. It's so silly, so stupid." So again, kind of reinforcing the Americans are stupid stereotype.
I like that.
I love that. The honesty that's dripping from
Yeah.
this production.
It's cool that
Holy
our
shit.
takes just mirror exactly what was going on. for
Dude,
both of
yeah,
them.
that is kind of crazy.
It's on
Um,
screen.
That's cool.
But yeah,
I don't know that it's the director's fault for fucking up your script, Joss, any more than it's your fault for fucking up his script, dipshit. But whatever.
True. Yeah, that's a fair
yeah.
point. That's all the trivia I got. I believe it is officially time for our cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'. Gooder of the week.
Juice, what is the cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's character type in a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter, but we want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, do we have a strong cooter candidate this week? I think we probably got a couple. At least
I feel like we
one.
gotta, right? Like
that.
yeah.
The Brad Dourif's character.
Brad Dourif.
Yeah. I think maybe he's the one. Isn't he like licking the window?
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah.
of sexual deviancy
He's
going on.
kissing it. It's a little sexually
And
deviant, I would
doesn't an
say.
alien get out and like smash the button and freeze him when he goes in?
No,
No,
not
that's a
him.
different
He's
guy.
the one
Oh, there's
who's in the
another guy?
cocoon at the end.
Okay.
Who's like saying,
beautiful
"Oh,
butterfly."
beautiful, beautiful,"
Yeah,
but
he's
yeah,
delivering
butterfly.
soliloquies about how beautiful this fucking
Yeah.
thing
So
is that has him.
His
cocooned
sweat
up.
glands are
And then
off
it
the
eats
charts.
its like skull from the top. Is that what
Yeah.
happened? there?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
damn.
does.
kind of pathetic. So maybe a little
Mhm.
sexual deviancy, patheticness.
Looking at Tyre, that
doesn't he have like the
ponytail
crazy ponytail?
with a fucking like, I don't know what, like a scrunchy clamp
clip,
sort of
yeah.
deal. I don't know what's
I think
going on.
that's
with that.
fair for looking at Tyre.
Ooh.
Manipulation, yeah. He's like being a real, or even smug arrogance, real piece of shit about like freezing the aliens, like he's torturing them on purpose. Yeah,
He's like hovering his hand over the button, like after doing it once. It's
Yeah.
like, don't make me do it. Don't
Yeah,
make me do
there's-
it."
Well, and he's like, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say there's no need for. He's just like being a total dick about it.
Well, I think he's trying to train it a little bit. I don't know.
Well,
I think he's like a slightly more like scientifically driven scientist versus the other guy who is just like he's like the Paul Reiser but with crazy eyes. But like he's there to fulfill a mission. But he is like Brad Dourif is still part of that manipulation. Like he
Yeah,
agrees to like not tell Sigourney Weaver about what happened or whatever.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know what happened to that because she knew everything pretty much immediately. I don't know.
yeah. She had the whole cloning aspect. I
weird.
mean, they're like keeping these
I-
people as like slaves, kind of, and like
Yeah, there's
experimenting
one
on
that's-
them, and
Experiment.
Yeah,
Like,
I
there's
guess
one
that's
that's
true.
like kill me, and I
Yeah,
bet
wants
Dorf
to
was like,
die.
I
no,
guess she didn't know
thanks.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
You could
So-
kind of
he's
lump
part of that.
like all of the whole military crew
Yeah.
together because I mean
Yeah.
General
United
Perez, I think it was
Systems aren't-
Perez, like specifically sticks out to me because he's the one that buys the humans that he knows he's just
That's
gonna murder.
true.
But
True,
like
yeah.
they're all kind of working together. And
Yeah.
it seems like they're off the grid a bit, like they're not actually operating under orders. Like they've gone kind of rogue. There's like a
Yeah.
couple
Maybe.
lines that hint towards
But
that.
they don't really expound on that. I
No.
will say I want to give a pass to Tuco Salamanca though, because he comes through in the
Oh,
clutch for a
dude.
while.
Dude, yeah.
He makes
Yeah.
it so far, and yeah,
He
I was
does.
surprised.
And he kind of turns a page into becoming like, not a shit heel for the rest of the movie. So that's
Yeah.
good.
So yeah, I don't know. I think he hits even on his own. I think he hits enough points to be considered a
so.
cooter, and then we could even go to like the higher up general as well or whatever. But yeah, kind of lumping them in works as well because they're all working together. So
I think so, yeah.
yeah,
The only thing is like the only thing that Dourif has over everybody else is the sexual deviance thing because they're like
yeah,
weirdly isn't a lot of that like outside
Except
of
for
just
Ron
like the weird
Perlman.
sexual stuff that's
Yeah,
happening,
Ron
like,
Perlman's like,
biologically.
I'm good at
Oh, that's
other
right.
indoor sports. You know what I mean?
Y-
Yeah,
Here's-
so that's about it.
I can
really.
get you off.
Maybe not this
Not the ship.
yeah, okay. Oh,
Which one of y'all dead motherfuckers just said that shit?
I think it helps so much knowing that like Ron Perlman as a human being is such a likable dude that when he says meathead shit, you're like, oh Ron, like
Yeah, and he ends his movie by like open mouth kissing the other crewmate. Just going like,
Yeah.
yeah, we did it.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
down.
good shit.
He's down to
Yeah.
down to play.
he won me over
Yeah.
by the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
He's
both
got,
of
he
those
kind of
guys
hits that
too.
vibe of. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say both of those
No,
guys
go
too.
ahead.
You're happy when they die, which is a strong element of being a cooter in a horror movie. It's like you actually want the
Yeah.
killer to get them. So once they go, you're
shit.
like, oh yeah.
shit. There we go. Sorry. So,
I
I clicked a link with
queuing up a-
audio and like I'm sharing.
Oh,
my
I
audio
love
shit.
it.
by mistake.
That's my
Oh,
favorite
shit.
Oh,
shit, Randy.
fuck. Yeah,
A
me saying,
xenomorph
oh,
is
shit
in the
over and over
podcast.
is clearly better. Yeah. Oh boy.
Have you heard of our podcast?
Um,
No.
I was gonna say though, like he kind of hits the Kevin Durand in Abigail feel for
Ah,
me.
yeah.
Like,
Oh
that
yeah,
sort of, like,
yeah.
dummy, but you kind of love him. But he's
Yeah.
also like a repulsive human being at the same time. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Well, we got a couple cooters, boys. Was there anybody else that kind of rang out for y'all?
Mm.
No. think
I
that
don't
I
was-
know.
don't think so.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time pinning down what Ripley Mark 8 her whole deal is for a lot of the movie that I kind of don't know. Like her motivations are like shifting. It feels
That's
like.
the other thing about the movie that I still can't quite wrap my head around is where her head's at for half the movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't label Cooter or whatever from Ruben.
What was that line she said? It was something like I'm finding a lot of things funny, even things that aren't, or something like that. I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck does that
She does
mean?
also
I don't-
say, "Who do I have to fuck to get off this boat?" So like,
Yeah,
there's a
well,
little of
That's
it.
true.
I don't know. Very strange shit.
Yeah.
What a movie.
What a movie.
What a picture.
What cinema this is? My
This
God.
is this is
Pure
the movie
cinema.
that's in that AMC promo. Um,
Just Nicole Kidman just watching
Nicole
Alien
Kidman
Resurrection
watch-
only every time we cut back to the screen.
This is the only movie she watches. She stims off this movie. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
I think we got him.
Yeah, I think we got him wrapped up,
We
locked
got
up.
'em.
Cool. I think we got time for what we've been watching this week. Let's talk about it.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Michael, you want to kick us off, man? You been watching anything else cool?
Yeah, last night I just rewatched Jennifer's Body with a bunch of
nice.
people. That movie gets better with age every time. It's funnier every year we get away from the year 2009. Really enjoyed that. What have I seen recently? Oh, have you guys had a chance to get out and see Cuckoo yet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
got a chance at Overlook. Rob
Oh
and
yeah,
I
you guys
did.
saw it
She
over.
was-
I didn't see it until way later. So yeah, that was a wild time that I spent a long time with my wife being like, she's like, what happened in that movie?
It's our friend
fair
and
question.
counselor Dan Stevens.
Yeah, speaking of Abigail and yeah, this Dan Stevens having quite a crazy man year for sure.
Mhm.
And then I what did I see right before then? I saw what did I see? Hold on, I'm pulling up my diary on Letterboxd. And I saw Trap last weekend, which was a fun time and a half, you know. Yeah.
All right.
Basically
I
it.
haven't seen that one yet. I've heard mixed things, but Josh
M.
Hartnett being
Shyamalan.
like a crazy killer, I'm interested.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the less I
one
say,
where
the better.
he's- Yeah, he's stuck at the
Yeah.
like stadium or some the concert or with his
Yeah.
daughter. Oh yeah.
If he doesn't have the hairstyle from Halloween H2O, I don't want any part of it. You know? I want just that weird flip in the one
the
side of his
beanie,
head.
yeah, he's gonna be
The
wearing
beanie
beanie.
too.
Yeah, I knowing you guys might have fun with some of it and some interesting things to say about where it goes, but I won't spoil anything about that movie. Just go in.
If you really
knowing...
knew us,
I've been so sour. on-
Maybe I
there'd
don't.
be
I don't
nothing
know.
Interesting
I've
that
been
we say
so
about this.
so sour on Shyamalan for so long now.
Oh, yeah.
Justin is
Oh,
like ready to
Shyamalan.
fight every time Shyamalan comes
If
up.
I saw him on the street, I'd have some words for him.
Damn.
Billy sucks.
It is the I'll say this, it is the most fun he has had since probably The Visit. Like
Ooh, okay.
it is
Well, that's
incredibly
promising.
it is an incredibly fun movie. He will still take some divisive swings,
Okay.
but very fun movie for sure.
Cool.
Nice. The
All
visit's
right.
solid. Yeah, I like that
I
one.
kind of like the visit.
Visit's
yeah.
very solid, yeah.
Sweet deal. Randy, what you been watching?
So I have not watched. Like I've been so busy this week, but I actually forgot a couple things last week that I did participate in that were not films. So a local band around here, pop punk band, DIY punk band called Bad Moves, was making a music video that me and my partner Beck went and participated in the filming of. So that was a lot of fun. We spent a Saturday doing that, or a Sunday maybe. Yeah, they've got a new album coming out. I don't know when this video drops, but I'll be sure and share it on the Slack. We get to wear a very interesting piece of attire during this filming.
You've
I
been
don't
in several
understand the
music
concept yet.
videos, Randy.
It's mostly by the same guys from
Oh,
like
it's
they
the
they produce several music videos for both Bad Moves and Jeff
Oh,
Rosenstock
okay.
and other people that I like. So I've participated in a few of those, and it's a lot of fun. And then second, to round out that same day, actually, I went and saw one of my favorite bands, the Mountain Goats, over at Wolf Trap, which is an outdoor venue, national park situation. I have not gotten to attend before. Sat out on a picnic blanket and watched one of my favorite bands play. It was fucking great. It was so fucking great. I had a great time. Also, the new Pornographers were there as well, who I like not as much, but I do like. Yeah, it was a great show. I don't know. That's really all I have to contribute this week, though. Everything else has been just work, work, work all the time.
Just quit, man. Then you can watch more stuff.
You got it.
Thanks. Perfect. Juice, what you been watching?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I finally got to revisit Pacific Rim. It was a lot of fun going back to that and made me excited for us to cover Pan's Labyrinth soon. Completely different movies, but still, Del Toro kicks ass, and it was fun to revisit that one. And other than that, I'm still working through The Bear season 3. I have to go slow because I have limited amount of time, and there's so much like fighting or stress or sadness going on in like every episode that I'm like, okay, well, even though that was only like 24 minutes, I gotta like decompress before I handle my own shit. So yeah, that's going slow, but I'm still enjoying it though. For some reason though, the only thing that's I don't know, maybe it's because the Christmas season from last Christmas episode from last season or something, but I attribute this show now to like a colder kind of climate. I don't know why. So I'm
Chicago, I mean.
yeah, I'm thinking like it's like
It's now
fucking
been
middle
assigned
of
to a
summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chicago
so it's
can
like-
only
It
do
happened.
winter from here on out.
yeah, so I don't know. So that is kind of weird for me too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been watching these days. Bob, what you been watching?
I've been in the mood for comedies and Denzel Washington.
Whoa,
So
Training Day. That kind
Whoa.
of checks
That's
both
hilarious.
those
Funniest movie
boxes.
I've ever seen.
Wait, what's a
Oh my
good
God.
Denzel comedy? I'm trying to think.
I don't think it exists.
Oh,
But that's what
okay.
I've been watching.
The Hurricane's pretty hilarious if you ignore the real life.
The only
situations,
Denzel movie I have watched this week so far is The Equalizer. And I thought I had seen that movie before when it came out, but as I was watching, I was like, none of this is familiar. So I don't think I actually ever had seen it before. Super fun. It's sort of kind of a classic Denzel Washington movie where he's like an average Joe, and then psych, turns out he's like an ex-military badass that fucking murks 1 million people and like does the right thing all the time and saves the day and like has wise words for everybody that he meets. You know, he does the Denzel thing. So it's very satisfying.
You got to get on that Man on Fire.
I
Next.
know I have seen that one, and it's
That movie fucking rules.
awesome.
Equalizer has like a shootout in a hardware store, if I remember correctly, right?
That's the
Right.
climax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in a hardware store, and
It's
he's
like
just
him
like,
on a poster with a nail gun.
he's just picking up power tools and just murdering people with them, and like that's how the movie ends.
Dude,
It's great.
I'm
Freaking
sold
beautiful.
on that.
Yeah.
It's a good time. It's got a small role for but Chloe Grace Moretz is also in it, and Dan Harbour is in it too. It takes place in Boston. He's a Boston police officer, and he's like doing the Boston accent. He does it pretty well though. So some familiar faces.
David Harbour?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said
Did I
Dan,
not?
Sorry.
I might have said Dan.
You might have
But yeah,
said Dan
Dave
Harbour.
Dave.
Y'all don't know Dan
Beautiful,
Harbour,
Dan.
David's
boy Dan.
less successful brother.
You don't know? I know. But
We
do
all
you
know
He's. I watched a handful of comedies. I watched the 2015 or I forget what year, the Vacation movie they made that was like a reboot of the National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh, how is that movie?
Oh, it's terrible. Don't watch it.
no. Yeah, that was.
It's
Yeah, no, I'm living in a nightmare.
they take the same format of the Vacation movies. It's recast, but it is a sequel because like their son grows up rusty and he has a family of his own, and then he wants to take his family on a vacation. But the comedy, like the brand of comedy they do is like the most blue, like low hanging fruit stuff you can think of. It's all like gnarly sex jokes and like just off the wall, like non-sex.
Super
Wait, are you
What are
talking
you
about
talking
the Straight Chillin' podcast right now? What,
Right.
We don't have time for anything,
Hey,
anything
man.
off color or blue.
I guess that would sound up my alley, but it's not. It's just I did not find it funny. Like there's a handful of funny parts. You know, it's not like completely without jokes. Chris Hemsworth has like a very small role in it, and he's probably the funniest section of the movie. His character just has a giant wiener, and like that's the whole bit.
Just
So
like
that
the
was
Straight
pretty-
Chillin' podcast.
Just like we have
Oh,
Chris
man.
Hemsworth on every week, and he talks about his sweaty hog the whole time.
Everyone always
Uh,
calls me the Chris Hemsworth of the Straight Chillin', you know. That's what
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
says.
I picked the wrong time to show up to Straight Chillin'. Miss Hemsworth Dong.
He-
Dang.
Oh,
He
man.
called out. He had to rest.
Gorgeous.
Anyway, yeah, I didn't find it particularly funny. I revisited Wedding Crashers. I hadn't seen that in a while.
How does that hold up?
Pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it more
I haven't
recently
seen
too, and
it.
it's still kind of funny, but it is man, it would not fly
Oh,
with some
yeah.
of that shit today for sure.
There's a few jokes that don't age perfectly.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
handful.
I'm
that make
afraid
you-
of revisiting it.
Dodgeball as well.
Yeah, me
like
too. I
Dodgeball
don't
has
know
a
how
few
I
of them.
keep
It's
it
like, oh,
Yeah, I rewatched
way.
Dodgeball the other day because I was like, man, I need to watch Dodgeball because remember loving that movie 20 years ago. And then I'm like, oof, oh boy, I gotta skip
Yeah.
over some sections.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oof.
Last thing I got is a movie. I watched a movie called Game Night. Jason
Oh.
Bateman and more Rachel McAdams.
I've heard that's actually quite good. Like,
It
I've heard
is.
good things about that.
Very funny, very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a sleeper. I feel like it doesn't get talked about too much, but it is very funny. It's also got Jesse Plemons in it, and
Oh,
he plays
Your
this like
boy.
deadpan police officer and crushes it.
Peter.
He is
Nice.
so freaking funny in that movie. Oh my
He
god.
really is. Yeah. It's a good one. I would recommend that. Check that out if you want like a newer comedy that it's got like some like action sequences in it too. Like it's not just like a straight, funny haha movie, but there's like some action shit going on. So yeah, that's a good one. Recommend that one for sure. And that's pretty much it for me. We do have 2 voicemails this week, so let's go ahead and jump into our hotline screams.
Away we go.
Hotline scream.
All right, if you guys are listening and would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, you can do so at 904-638-3231. We got 2 this week. First up, we're going to hear from our boy Hugh. It's been a minute. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Shit.
Yeah, that's Hugh calling. Hadn't called in a while. Thought I would check in. Hasn't been a real good summer here. I live just a few miles from Greenfield, Iowa, which I think was probably on national news. Got hit by a massive tornado. But everybody's doing pretty well and all that. So figured it was time to call in. Let me take you back. It was about 1904. Albert Einstein invited me over to his house. He wanted to discuss with me his new theory of relativity. We sat down and he explained to me, he says, with time, the faster you move through space, time slows down. The closer you get to a mass, time slows down. Everything you've ever done, what you're doing now, everything you do in the future, time is a constant factor. But do you know what the greatest thing about time is? I looked at him and I said, no, Skippy, what is it? All his friends called him Skippy. Not everybody knows that. He looked at me and he says, my boy, the greatest thing about time is there's always time for yabos. That's for Rachel. Last time I called in, I believe she was on the show, and she wondered if I had come up with the term yabos. No, I did not. But Albert Einstein was the first person that I can recall using the term. About all I've got. I'm a couple of weeks behind on listening to the shows. Just getting kind of caught up. Been listening to the mini cast. You guys are still hanging in, doing good. About all I got. Keep on chilling.
Damn, man.
Dude, Janus. Thanks
rules.
for calling in, Janus.
This has been Etymology Corner with Hugh Janus.
Dude, we need to get that man a book deal. I would listen to that man
Yeah.
like do an audio book on anything.
On his experiences with Albert Einstein, Skippy, How I Knew Thee.
He said he was a few weeks behind too. I threw up the Janus signal on Ice Cream Man. That was 2 weeks ago. I wonder if I guess he heard that, or did he just randomly call in? Either way, thanks for calling in, Hugh. Appreciate you, boy, Hugh Janus.
Yeah, Michael, you joined us on an episode where we heard from the legendary Hugh Janus, and
that was an epic voicemail, man.
Yeah.
He's got some
full
good ones.
rundown.
Yeah,
Dude,
Your audience does not mess around, man.
No, there was nothing silly or weird about that at all. That was perfectly on the level and great.
Also, Janus, hope everything's going good with like all
Yeah,
the
for
tornado
real.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry to hear
stay
you had a hard
safe.
time. Yeah,
I lived in tornado country for a lot of my youth, and it's no joke to stay safe out there. So hope you're doing well.
For real.
Yeah.
Thanks,
for
Hugh.
calling in, Janus.
Thanks for calling in. I loved watching Justin just have a meltdown.
Dude,
during that.
before
That
the
was-
punchline, just it's delivery.
Yeah.
It's just the man has a great way of baffling.
I needed some
creating
Hugh
a baffling
Janus in my
scenario.
life.
I love
so
it.
thanks
Yeah.
for calling in.
With each line, it's just like the suspense, the anticipation builds so perfectly, and you're just hanging on every word.
He's a natural storyteller.
Flawless.
I mean,
no
Wow.
notes.
Wow.
Next up, we are going to hear from our good pal Logan. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Good afternoon, Straight Chilling crew. I come to you here from my couch in Austin, Texas, with my precious kitty cat by my side. I heard y'all had prompts this week for like local cryptids, and I think that I have one that you guys may have actually heard about before because it was on BuzzFeed Unsolved Mysteries or whatever, BuzzFeed Unsolved. It is the story of Goatman's Bridge, or the Old Alton Bridge, which is the like official name of the bridge. Basically, I think like you're supposed to go out there at night and like you flash your headlights a certain amount of times, and then the Goatman shows up. And the Goatman is actually a really sad story. It's about a man named Oscar Washburn who was killed by the Ku Klux Klan back. Let me see here. It was back in like the 1930s. Which really kind of sucks that's like the background story of the Goatman. But yeah, I've been out to Goatman's Bridge, but because like a lot of people take their senior pictures out there. I think I may have to. No, I think I may. Yeah, I think I did. I'll have to ask my mom. But yeah, obviously during the day it's not as scary as it is at night. But yeah, that is my local cryptid. He's from North Texas. I grew up out there, so that's always been kind of like legend in my neck of the woods. But yeah, like I said, I think he's actually a pretty popular figure. So shout out to the Goatman. I think he like has the head of a goat, but like the body of a man. I think that may not be right, but I have never seen him. So, well, I hope y'all have a great week, and yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed my story about Goatman's Bridge.
Goatman,
Logan.
Frogman,
Cool.
Mothman. We got all
Oh,
of
we
it.
got a lot of mangs.
yeah, there's a lot. Man, there's a lot of things breeding with man, or vice versa.
Including Alien,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien
Very
man.
appropriate. That intro of that story, like the bridge and all that stuff, I immediately thought, like, is this the same story from Butterfly Kisses? Like, I immediately just
That
thought
was a
it
tunnel, though. Butterfly Kisses.
That was a
tunnel.
tunnel. I'm just like, yeah, my memory of it is a little hazy, but I was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
This
at the
bridge
end.
looks
Obviously, I don't remember a
creepy.
Goatman.
Yeah, I looked it
Yeah.
up. It looks like a creepy old bridge in Texas.
Yeah, we were talking about the movie Frogman last week, Michael, and started
Mm.
talking about like local cryptid lore and stuff. Do you
Oh.
have any that you can think of? Any places you may have lived off the top of the head?
I mean, I have the weird thing where, I'm from Alabama, so we had that weird viral thing where a guy was like, "There's a leprechaun in a tree." So
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit!
that was from
Oh,
Alabama. So No, other than that. I
To
don't
me,
know.
that
Yeah,
looked
we
like a
look with
leprechaun to me.
It looked exactly like a leprechaun. You could tell from the drawing. It was great.
That's what every leprechaun I've ever seen has looked like. So
Yeah.
If it didn't look like
Um,
that, you're lying. So yeah.
yeah, that's exactly right.
Alabama's known
Although
for its
actually, weirdly,
leprechauns.
I'm surprised that didn't come up last week during the Frogman review because there's literally a fucking flute for
There
to call
is.
the Frogman.
Yeah.
Just like there's a leprechaun flute. Oh, damn. That's crazy.
Fantastic. Good shit. Thanks for calling, Logan. Thanks for sharing your local cryptid. Again, if you guys are listening and would like to call in, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We're gonna stay on this alien train next week. We're talking Alien Romulus. So yeah, I don't know. You guys got any prompts you want to throw out for people calling in next week?
Who's the real Chris Hemsworth of this podcast? Is my question. Who is really swinging
Which
that
type?
hot,
It depends on
sweaty
what
hot?
type of Chris Hemsworth you're talking about. Are we just only talking about?
Ding dong.
I guess we're only talking about the ding dong.
Does that answer your question?
Enough said.
You could give us your
Oh.
rankings. I think at this point now, yeah, other than Alien vs Predator 2, we've covered the entire Alien franchise. I don't wait, yeah, run them down for us,
Dude,
or even like
when
the
you-
top 4.
When you first said give us your rankings, I was like, dick ranking?
I was like
Give your
Hemsworth dick
rankings.
ranking.
Who's
I don't know who's collected the whole set, but damn. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of want to know how people feel about this specific movie, though. Resurrection, like,
yeah.
does it hold up for you in any way? Does it like have you softened towards it, hardened towards it over the years? Like, what's your relationship with?
You
this
still
movie?
talking about dicks, Randy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of
Bob,
course.
Fantastic.
Bob, look at me. Look at me. Yes.
No, that's a good. I would like to hear more people's opinions on this too, because it seems to have a very, very negative, reputation.
Yeah.
We were mixed on this, obviously, but I
wasn't
feel like
nearly as
there's
bad as Halloween
All
Resurrection,
it was all
Yeah.
The lowest score was 3. I mean,
I mean,
we're
there's
higher than 50%.
yeah.
So.
Way higher than I would have thought before
Yeah.
I'd watched the
For
movie.
sure.
If I ever release any film, I'm gonna tell everybody I know that it's the worst movie they've ever seen. They'll ever see in their lives.
You'll
so
hate
that
it.
There's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
It's a waste of your time. Don't give me your money. Go somewhere else. And if you come in here, you're gonna regret it. And then they're gonna be like, "That wasn't so bad." 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, much higher than otherwise.
Just be
You're a
like, look,
marketing
expect
genius.
Birdemic, and then everyone's gonna come away being like, "My God, best movie ever, 4 out of 5."
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they knew their lines. Holy shit.
Do the do the reverse long legs where it's like the least scariest movie you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
You won't even shit your pants.
Yeah.
Get
ready
just
for a
drop all the
great
lines in
nap.
the trailer. Yeah. Who do you have to fuck to get off this boat? Alien Resurrection.
5 stars.
That's the
5 stars.
That's the only clip I need to see this movie.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, Alien Romulus next week. Check it out. Michael, thanks again so much for sitting in with us, dude. It's awesome chatting with you again.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. This was a blast and a half. And I don't know if you liked me being on here at all, just let me know if you want to have me as a guest again. No, I had a blast. So thank you.
Careful what you
Oh,
wish
yeah.
for, man.
Yeah.
Careful.
I don't want to threaten you with a good time.
You're a brave man. I really like that about you.
Oh,
all
the
right?
bravery. The bravery.
No, I could talk to you guys about any movie, and it's good that we could talk about something as strange as this one. So happy to be on here, and thanks for having me.
Awesome, dude.
course.
Yeah. Check out Alien Romulus. We're on the socials. You know where to find us. And until next week, as always, everybody, please keep chilling.
You bitch!
Oh. And